So, today we're going to talk about something really cool, how AI is literally breaking free from our screens. We're going to see how the Wave platform, that's the wild animal voice engine, is starting to use augmented and virtual reality to decode animal communication. And what's amazing is that this entire vision is being guided by indigenous innovation. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First up, we've got to understand the core problem, what's called the Umwelt barrier. Then we'll look at Wave's actual roadmap to this immersive new reality. From there, we'll see how it could play out in the real world with augmented reality, and then how virtual reality can build empathy. And finally, we'll wrap up with the ethical blueprint that honestly makes this whole thing possible. All right, so the first and frankly, the biggest hurdle in understanding animals, it's not what you'd think. It's not technical, it's biological. And it's something known as the Umwelt barrier. So what is Umwelt? Well, basically, it means that every single species, and yes, that includes us, experiences the world through its own unique sensory filter. A bee, for instance, sees ultraviolet patterns on a flower that are totally invisible to us. A bat builds a picture of the world with sound. Our human Umwelt, our way of sensing things, is incredibly narrow, and that colors everything we observe. And this right here, this just lays out the problem perfectly. For decades, researchers have been stuck in that 2D world you see on the left, just staring at these flat spectrograms on a screen. But animal communication isn't flat. It's this rich, multisensory 3D experience. It's sounds, it's body language, it's the environment itself. To really get it, to get closer to helping wildlife and having a better relationship with nature, we have to move into the immersive world on the right. We have to take the AI off the screen and bring it into the real physical world. So how do we actually get there? How do we make that jump? Well, that brings us to the roadmap, the technology that's being designed to break right through that barrier. Right at the heart of all this is a platform called Wave, the Wild Animal Voice Engine. Its whole mission is to use AI to find those hidden links between what animals are saying and what they're doing, and to make this complex science open and accessible to everybody. So let's take a look at the actual roadmap. Phase 1, the foundation, that's done. It's built. But, and this is the really exciting part, the real revolution, the game-changing stuff, is still ahead in phases 7 and 8. This is where we get into real-world applications and advanced research, using things like spatial computing, AR, and VR. So what does this actually look like on the ground? The first step is what's called the augmented field. This is all about using augmented reality to lay a real-time translation layer right over the physical world. Now, this might sound like something straight out of science fiction, right? But check this out. The blueprint for it already exists. What you're looking at is a concept for the Hua Kiʻi app. It was created by an all-Indigenous team of engineers and cultural knowledge keepers. It uses AI to look at the world through a phone's camera and give you instant translations for objects into Indigenous languages. It's an incredible proof of concept for place-based AI. So Hua Kiʻi is the spark, but it inspires this much grander vision called Kuanoʻo. Just imagine this. A field researcher is wearing AR glasses. A bird lands on a branch and chirps. Instantly, Wave's AI projects a glowing, real-time translation and a species ID tag right over that bird in their field of view. The AI basically becomes this hands-free environmental guide. It would completely change how we observe and understand animal behavior as it's happening. Okay, so augmenting our own reality, that's one huge step. But what if we could create entirely new ones? This brings us to virtual reality, which can be so much more than a tool for just analyzing data. It can be a tool for building empathy. And this quote from Dr. Noelani Arista just perfectly sets the stage for this idea. It reminds us that this isn't just about collecting data. It's about reconnecting with different ways of knowing and rebuilding our relationship with the world around us. And this is where really fascinating concepts like the Eel Alder VR project come into play. See, a project like this isn't about just watching from a distance. The whole point is to use virtual reality to create this immersive, totally non-invasive experience that lets a user interact with or even embody another species, trying to build a deeper, more relational understanding from a totally new perspective. So you see, VR becomes this incredibly powerful tool for a couple of key reasons. First, on a practical level, it lets scientists test scenarios that would be way too dangerous or unethical in the real world, like using virtual whale entanglement simulators to design safer fishing gear. But second, on a much deeper level, these experiences can help us rebuild what some have called ancestral neural networks by exposing us to different ways of thinking. And of course, to get this right, you absolutely need genuine collaboration between the engineers and the cultural knowledge keepers. And all of this amazing tech, it leads us to our final and, maybe the most important point of all. Because a tool this powerful is only as good as the ethical foundation it's built on. This quote from Daryl Robeskip it's so profound. It really reminds us that language is never, ever just a collection of words. It holds entire worldviews, entire histories, entire ways of being. And when we start building technology that deals with language, whether it's human or not, we have to do it with an immense amount of care. And that brings us to the ethical framework that underpins all of this: Indigenous Protocol and AI, or IPAI for short. It's built on these core ideas like respect for the land, data sovereignty for local communities, and true, deep collaboration. It's all about changing how we build this technology so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. It's making sure the process is just as innovative as the final product. And that is the bedrock for Way's future. And so that really leaves us with this one big question to think about as we move forward. As we build these incredible machines that can literally listen to the world, the biggest challenge isn't going to be technical. It's going to be relational. How do we make sure that these tools help us build better relationships, not just with each other, but with all living things?